Always nice to start the show with a nice yawn from
Yes.
Vince right as the video
But
comes up.
the majority of the people are listening on radio, so they would not have known if you didn't call me out on that one.
There are people, we don't know exactly what the numbers are. Like, I don't know if we can definitively say a majority. There are people out there we never hear from radio listeners typically.
That's fair. I just like to think that more people would rather just listen to our voices than look at our faces. That's just where I'm at.
That's true. That's true. Tell you what, the day is looking up. It went from 0 degrees to 1 above on my drive in from my house to the studio tonight. So
things are looking up. Things are looking up. I had to go outside briefly today, and I immediately went and took a nice warm shower, and it felt very good because it's cold outside.
It is cold. It is cold. Like most of the day, it was just like, I don't even know if it was really snowing, but it was just like blowing all over.
Yeah.
Like stuff was falling. So
just nasty.
Yeah. Bunch of weenies.
I'm gonna start off with a little regression here, but I want to ask you guys this. Do you ever use Bing as opposed to Google?
I don't know.
Do you know anyone who uses? The studio computer is set to Bing, and when I search for something, the results are just like, it's like, what am I even looking at? Like, do you even know what I'm looking for, Bing? The answer is typically no. So I have to type in google.com and then do the search. And even then, Google searches have changed quite a bit in the last year or so, but still infinitely better than Bing. I have no idea. I guess it's just because Microsoft and whatever.
You can change that, You can
your default browser.
Yeah.
Maybe you could do that, Vince. But there are rules in this building about changing settings on computers. And
I get it.
In case our engineer Bob Henning, I just saw him pulling out a little bit ago. I don't know if he actually listens to us or not. I'll get a text if he is, but he would scold you.
Yeah.
Automatically if he heard you say that, I believe.
You can blame me. Just change it and say I came in and did it.
Yeah.
Just blame me.
You can change that. I don't know where you are.
I'm at a place where you can change stuff on your computer, so I don't know.
Chris is actually, this is what I was searching for, because Chris puts it's we in, we out day. And so there's a thread, in the IB Champions Lounge where people can submit their we in, we out questions. And Chris got a late one in about a Dabo Sweeney rant. And I just saw part of it that somebody tweeted. It's funny that's what came up in the search was actually the tweet, as opposed to, it doesn't look like anybody wrote about it. Sweeney went off on Pete Golding, the Ole Miss head coach, about tampering. That's what came up in all these Bing results and everything. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Well, here's what I know. I'm Sean Stiers. Vince D'Addario is here. Jesse Stiers is here. You're looking good. You're both looking pretty good based on what I saw of you earlier this week.
The last time you saw me, I was struggling like that.
You looked like you were ready to fall through your computer. What was it, 2 days ago?
Yeah. That was that's where how deep our friendship is.
You needed a kickstand to hold yourself up that day.
That was rough. But 48 hours later, I'm feeling pretty darn good. Now, I can't say the same for everybody in the house. They are rapidly getting better, which is a major plus for our house right now.
All right. Good enough. Jesse, feeling good?
Feeling better. Definitely not 100%, but
you got the rasp. You got the raspy voice.
Yeah.
We've moved on to food. I've ate a Subway sandwich in the last 4 days, so progress.
Okay.
I will say though, I fasted longer than you did. I didn't want to call you out on this, but I did fast longer.
Well, when you're sick, you don't have any choice.
That's cheating.
And your stomach a lot of times doesn't even want you to eat when you're sick.
Listen, I lost 5 pounds, lost some inflammation, and I feel a heck of a lot better. My boss told me today my face looks skinnier. So those are all wins, in my opinion.
Probably the nicest thing your boss has said to you all week.
Different boss. I went to my boss's boss. Boss's boss. Sorry, big boss.
All right.
Oh, big boss. Wow.
Big boss.
Talking down to you. All right.
A lot of Notre Dame football to get to. Let's jump into some of it today. Notre Dame officially released the full 2026 schedule today. We knew they were going to open the season at Lambeau Field against Wisconsin, September 6th. That was set in stone.
Road trip.
Followed by Rice on September 12th, Michigan State on the 19th. They are at Purdue on the 26th. That's the date of my high school reunion this year.
Oh,
26th. They used to have it. They've been having it.
The 50-year reunion?
wow.
Well, you're 10 years off. Right?
Wow.
I know Jesse hasn't been to any of his reunions. Have you gone to a high school reunion, Vince?
No.
It's funny how many people answer that way. I went to my 30 year.
Okay.
10 years ago.
Okay.
And so this is the 40 year coming up this year.
I looked into the 20 year, which was a few years ago, and it was ridiculously expensive, and it was in town. Like that's a hard pass.
You got one of those.
I kind of have a
large.
Yeah. Oh, it was like a massive dinner and like this
my group is like they meet at a bar on a Friday night,
Yeah.
and then they had a picnic on Saturday, and that was it. That was like the whole reunion. And
Okay.
it was like if you wanted to, you could ask for a tour of the school or something like that. And it's like, who really wants to see that? But
Our school hasn't changed at all. I don't
they
think.
They moved it to the fall this year to I don't know if it's like homecoming weekend
Okay.
for like the high school or
Yeah.
what, but
I don't know, man. It doesn't interest me. Like I was friendly in high school. I got along with everybody. It was all well and good. I work in a high school. Like I don't need to go back and see the 45-year-old versions of the people that I went to high school with. I don't know. It doesn't interest me.
I mean, what I found out going back to mine is really you kind of gravitate to the people who you hung out with the
Right.
most. And
Right.
otherwise it's like, hey, what's up to everybody else? And saying,
Exactly. Probably the people that you talk to anyway, like on Facebook or whatever. You've caught up. There's not really anything to catch up about. I mean, maybe you're drinking in person or something along those lines, but I don't know. It just doesn't interest me personally. I don't know.
I hear you. And like I said, the last one 10 years ago was the only one that I've been to. And it was like, I think I've done this now.
Yeah.
So there are like a couple people who I connected with, who I kind of stayed, more in touch with since then. But, really, it's like I don't need to go back to see the rest. So I'm not really. And honestly, one of my best friends died about a year and a half ago, and I hadn't seen him in a long time. I connected with him that weekend. He was, like one of my original, like, whose car are we going to take? Like, literally, there was a whose car are we going to take type situation in high school. Where, like, I was supposed to go over to another high school after school, and there was going to be like fisticuffs, over a girl type situation. And I told my buddy Danny in the morning, and he was like, all right, I'm coming with you. And I'm like, all right. By after school, I drove a van in high school. After school, he had rounded up 15 more dudes, and they were all going to come with me. And I'm like, what's this all about? He's like, you don't think we're going to let you go over there by yourself, do you? Like, all right.
It's your boys.
Yeah.
It's your boys.
That's right.
Now, your reunion that you had with your Army buddies a couple of years back, was that last year?
That was last year.
Like that one I could get on board with.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that was
actually,
yeah, like there was a lot more going on there.
Yeah.
Spent a lot other do. Okay, anyway, let's get back to the football
Just saying.
schedule. October 3rd at North Carolina. The 10th, Notre Dame hosts Stanford. The 17th, they're at BYU. Bye week, October 24th. Then they play Navy in Foxborough, NFL Stadium, on Halloween. They will host the Miami Hurricanes on November 7th. The 21st, they host Boston College. Actually, there's a duplicate. That must be the 14th, they host Boston College. The 21st, SMU. And then we talked about this earlier this week. They will go to Syracuse to close out the regular season. That's where they will spend Thanksgiving weekend. So, no trip to California for Thanksgiving weekend for the first time in decades. Instead, it's off to Syracuse to close out the regular season.
Jesse's already got his tickets booked. He's headed out to Syracuse for Thanksgiving weekend.
I was supposed to go to that North Carolina game, but my buddy lasted about 2 months in North Carolina, so that trip is no longer happening.
That didn't. Yeah, that's. I know who you're talking about. You're right. That was Well, we don't need to get into it, but that was one of the weirdest phone calls I've ever gotten. I'm back.
Just one bye week for Notre Dame this season.
That's unfortunate.
Good with that?
That's the first thing I noticed, to be honest with you.
Go ahead, Jess.
Yeah, the double bye week is the first thing the non 2 bye week, only 1 bye week is the first thing I noticed when I read through the schedule. I didn't even see your notes at the bottom that said, first time in a couple years without the 2 bye weeks. And it was especially weird because that first bye week is always within the first couple games of the season. So I don't know. I just feel like the season's going to feel a little bit different. The flow is going to feel a little bit different. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's what I noticed first when I looked at the schedule.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the double bye week just because, the season's a grind. It's a grind for the players. It's a grind for the fans. It's a grind for us that cover Notre Dame.
I need the emotional break.
Yeah, man. I enjoyed, number one, not having to do the grind of the weekend of Notre Dame football, right? As much as I love watching them play, but I like to sit back and watch some other games because when there's a Notre Dame game, let's say they play at 3:30, for example, right? And, you're kind of heading out there during the first window of games. You're obviously sitting there during the game, and then you got a post-game show or you're writing articles after the game. And so the only really games you're going to be able to really watch are something on the West Coast that starts at 10 o'clock. You know what I mean? And so it kind of blocks out your entire day. So we don't get to watch as much football as I would like as to when they're on bye weeks. And it's just more relaxing, obviously, when they're on bye weeks. And
yeah,
I don't know. I kind of wish they had the double bye week. I mean, they didn't ask me.
I just didn't like it. I didn't like it in week 2 last year.
Yeah, I get that.
Kind of like
it's early.
Didn't do anything to relieve any of the stuff you're talking about. But and obviously they start a week later this year compared to last year as well with that game against Wisconsin. And looking at the schedule, Miami is obviously going to be a primetime game. Is SMU a primetime game? Is Wisconsin is a Shamrock Series game, so I'm guessing that's going to end up being a night game as well.
Yeah, probably true. But yeah, nothing really of the home schedule jumps out at you that screams night game at all. At all. And SMU, a night game on November 21st, you're potentially looking at a pretty chilly evening at that
even
point.
November 7th, you never know what you're going to get. I think
true.
a couple years ago when they hosted Florida State in early November, it was pretty chilly outside.
That's true.
That was when all the Notre Dame receivers came out, lubed up, no shirts on, and all that kind of crazy stuff. So
this is true.
That's Vince's kind of party.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what the schedule looks like. It's we in, we out time. We've got a lot of questions stacked up from listeners. By the way, just one break this hour, so I didn't get to tell you guys. The show started, so we can get long-winded.
Is no one else fired up about BYU?
I think it's going to be a great
BYU game.
Yeah, but we knew it was going to be there. It's not like we didn't know it was going to be there.
I'm trying to go to Provo though. It looks beautiful out there.
I had to do that.
I had friends text me who aren't even fans that want to go to this game all of a sudden. They're like, what do we have to do to make this happen? I said, well, first we got to buy tickets.
1-800-BYU Cougars, and you go and you buy tickets.
I was going to say, did they think that you were hooking them up with something?
Right. It is impressive to me how many people think that we just have an in on tickets all the time. All the time. I'm like, guys, I can't even get tickets for my family unless I go through the box office. I got a ticket for this guy and that's it. And I'm working.
Exactly right.
It's a different situation.
I guess what I'm saying though is this might turn into a boys trip.
Oh, okay.
In Provo.
Well, hey.
You might remember it is Provo.
Pretty dry campus.
Yeah,
it's a dry state, brother.
Yeah, I was thinking. I don't even know how crazy you're gonna get anywhere in the state.
I might smuggle my own briefcase of goods.
That's gotta be a heck of a drive all the way out to Utah.
That would take days.
That would be quite the trip. I think that's definitely a flying situation.
Yeah, but I don't know how much I really want to fly anymore. I'm pretty scarred right now, to be honest with you.
You're going to need to put some distance between your last trip and the next one. I agree with that. That's for sure.
The other big news of the day,
yes,
maybe even bigger, is the college football playoff is going to stay at 12 teams this season. They're not going to expand. Today was the deadline. They couldn't reach any kind of agreement on expansion. So Joe Allen, with some we in, we out questions, he says they should keep the playoffs at 12 teams and drop the group of 6 and give them their own playoff system. Are you in or are you out on that?
I'm very in on that, to be honest with you, because I want the best games possible in the playoff, right? And you're not going to get those when you bring in the group of 5 teams. You're just not. That's just the reality of the situation. And now that you've got the transfer portal and NIL, the upper echelon teams are just using those group of 6 teams as minor leagues. And so the Boise State teams that, competed and beat Oklahoma, back in the Fiesta Bowl and like stuff like that, those are few and far between anymore. Same thing with basketball, right? You're not going to see the Cinderella teams anymore because you don't have players that are staying for 4 or 5 years and playing together for 4 or 5 years. And all of a sudden they're a really good team going up against just really talented like freshmen and sophomores. You know what I mean? Like the George Masons making the Final Four. I think those days are behind us. It's the same thing with the football playoff. Get the 12 best teams in the playoff and then give the group of 6 something to play for. It's kind of like the NIT tournament, for example. I think group of 6 teams would be all in on that. Then their Pop-Tarts Bowl could be the national championship.
I don't think they would. I don't think that they want that. I think that they want entry into the big tournament because, there's a bigger paycheck.
Well, you got to make it worth their while money-wise.
Yeah.
The spotlight as well.
Go ahead, Jess.
No, I think that they're interested because of the money and because of the spotlight that you get. No matter if you get beat bad, you're still on national television for everyone to see. I still think it could potentially help at a recruiting level. Like, yeah, Tulane got the brakes blew off them, and so did JMU. But if I'm a recruit deciding between Tulane, JMU, and Utah State, I'm probably going to go to the place that, at least got to play in a college football playoff game. So I don't necessarily think that they should be a part of it, but I understand why they want to be a part of it, even if it means getting embarrassed every year.
Right. But it does feel like with the de-emphasis on bowl games and just kind of how that has shrunk to where it is right now, it does feel like if you came up with something separate for the group of 6 that's similar, like to the FCS format, that you could probably use some of those bowls that are being relegated and, basically put off to pasture as it is. And you could build something up that would give them something that would, kind of have more interest. But at the same time, they are a lot of off-brand, like the MAC schools, obviously, and the Sun Belt and all those different schools like that. So, I mean, perfect world, yeah. I think that it would be nice for the group of 6 to do this, but I don't know that it's ever going to happen that way. Like you said, like there would have to be enough TV incentive from ESPN or whoever's going to televise it.
But I would look at it this way, like if you're the American, for example, and look, the group of 6 representative is going to come out of the American or the Mountain West or something like that, not going to come out of the MAC usually. It's not going to come out of the Sun Belt, those kind of things. So the way you've got to look at it, in my opinion, okay, if you want to have a separate tournament, okay, you've got one automatic bid, maybe from each league, and then you've got some at-large bids. So now you have an opportunity of having multiple bids into this secondary tournament where, you're sharing the money anyway, right, with your conference. So like if Boise State goes in, they're sharing the money with, well, not anymore. They're not a group of 6 anymore, but you know what I'm saying? If a group of 6 goes in, they're sharing the money with their conference. All right.
What do you mean they're not a group of 6 anymore?
Didn't they move up? Aren't they in the Big 12? Are they going to be?
Boise?
Yeah, they're not.
They're going to the reconfigured Pac-12.
Oh, the Pac-12, right.
The Pac-12 but the Pac-12 is going to be a group of 6.
Okay,
yeah.
My bad. So you're going to have an opportunity for multiple bid leagues now into this secondary thing where I think you could make the money work, where you could be making just as much as you would just having one team make it into the big tournament. Now you've got 2-3 teams making it into the secondary tournament. Maybe you could even make some more money. So it's all going to be driven by money and TV. Bottom line, right? I mean, we can all agree on that. I think you could make it work. We're all desperate to watch football games.
No, and again, I think the only way it's going to work is if you again like use those lower tiered bowls, and if there's interest from ESPN in doing it. I mean, the biggest interest in those is sports wagering is legal.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's what's going to drive interest.
And ESPN has the rights to all those bowl games already. So you take the existing bowl games, you put it into this tournament, and now you've got a little bit of extra something riding on it. I think it could be fun.
I think the biggest component of this to be successful is you'd have to make sure that during this kind of playoff, it needs to be completely separate and there needs to be no overlap of games. You need to give them the full week or however long and basically say, hey, we're not gonna overlap, the college football playoff games with you to take the spotlight away. You guys can have your own week, and that's the only football that's going to be on. And so everyone is forced to watch them and no other game. I guess there can be no other option of game, basically.
All you got to do is take a page out of the Mac. Maction, baby. You got Wednesday night games, baby. Let's roll.
So, and just for anybody like who hadn't seen the details of this, because I know that Stephen A. Smith and Cam Newton
sounds like an idiot
on First Take today.
That's not what you wanted to say, Vince.
The biggest change, it's going to stay 12 teams, but the biggest change to this thing is the fact that now the Power 4 conference champions are all going to be guaranteed a spot. So that means, like, if this was in place this year, Duke would have made it in. So, like, does Miami even get in? Like, the teams that win their conference are now of the Power 4 are guaranteed a spot. The highest ranked group of 6 is still going to get a spot. So that means Duke would have been in, James Madison would have been out, but Tulane would have still been in because they were the highest ranked group of 6. And then there is also the memorandum of understanding that basically this was, as we've talked about before, this was negotiated 2 years ago, but everyone's just sort of acting like this memorandum of understanding just popped up. The Big Ten and the SEC got the bulk of control in all this. And so what happened was Notre Dame, as part of the negotiations, since the Big Ten and SEC were getting all this control, Notre Dame is guaranteed a spot if they are ranked in the top 12. And this was essentially to help offset the fact that those two conferences might have tried to, negotiate more auto bids for, multiple auto bids for the
monopoly.
And that's how Notre Dame got this spot, because they obviously didn't want to get squeezed out if the SEC and the Big Ten were going to get more spots in. This was all negotiated. All the conference commissioners, everybody agreed to all this. And now, of course, everyone's blowing up because of the fact that Notre Dame is guaranteed the spot if they're ranked in the top 12 and they're not in the conference and yada, 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 and everything else. So,
I mean, everybody's all up in arms about the whole Notre Dame thing. Look, everybody that's in a conference has an opportunity to win their conference. So that's your avenue to get in and get your guarantee. Notre Dame's guarantee is to be in the top 12. I don't really see the issue in it. And look, if Notre Dame's outside the top 12, they shouldn't be in it anyway. They shouldn't even be considered for the tournament in the first place. So, I don't know. I think people are making a mountain out of a molehill on this one. Are we allowed to bring up Cam Newton and what he said, or is that we're going to say?
I mean, I don't want to go too far. We do have a lot of topics we're trying to get in. So
that's fair. Just the fact that he said Notre Dame's not relevant. He said take out the fact that they were in the national championship game last year. They're not relevant. What? Unbelievable.
So is Auburn relevant? Because it's been how long since Cam Newton was still
the SEC is still
done anything.
They're still the crown jewel, baby.
The Notre Dame is not relevant is basically just
hilarious.
A beaten cur of all these other, people from other conferences whose schools are not on the same level as Notre Dame. And so they try to knock Notre Dame down
right
pegs by claiming non-relevance. But as you know, as we've talked about, look at the last 2 months and how Notre Dame has dominated the news cycle in spite of the fact that they didn't make the college football playoff. So,
Exactly. If any other school walked into that committee meeting and said, we want an automatic bid if we're in the top 12, they'd have been laughed out of the room.
mm-hmm.
Notre Dame gets it by unanimous vote because they're relevant. Plain and simple. Plain and simple.
It's just going to be funny because I think you can clip that, and when Notre Dame's playing in a national championship next year again, you can bring that one back up. And that's me calling my shot on January 23rd.
Jesse's calling it right now.
Love it. Let's go.
All right. I want to scroll back here because I started off with Joe's. J-Lo is asking what role we see Matt Jeffrey playing this year. This is not a we in, we out question. I mean, he essentially was a special teams type guy this year, and that's probably the role that he has.
He'll be lucky to be that guy again.
Right.
I mean, as long as he keeps working hard and stays healthy, that his role's not going to change.
I mean, it's hard when you bring in 2 5-star guys that are basically the same age.
Exactly.
His role will either stay the same or
plus the incoming studs
smaller.
they have in that room. So,
right.
Yeah. Rocket is Heisman. We in, we out. Notre Dame will sign a transfer quarterback before the start of the season to be QB2. Teddy Gerard is QB2 by far.
Well, that's 2 different things.
Yeah, let's stick with the first one. We in, we out on them bringing a transfer portal quarterback in by the start of the season.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to bring in someone to be a backup quarterback, and I don't know where it's coming from, when it'll be, but I think by the time it's all said and done, they will have a backup quarterback from the portal.
I am out. I do not think that they will bring one in. I think they're going to let the 3 guys that are going to be on campus on scholarship battle it out to be number 2.
I think that is that seems like it is the way it's going to be. Now, that said, there are a ton of guys who are in the transfer portal, and just because you don't have a home right now doesn't mean that you can't still, sign with somebody and show up on campus this summer for workouts and all that kind of stuff. I just think I think I'm probably out because of the fact that the number of guys who would take that and just knowing the best you're ever going to be is the backup to CJ Carr. I don't think there are enough people who think that is attractive enough to make that kind of move. So I think I understand why Notre Dame wanted to have a veteran to back up CJ Carr. I just don't think it's feasible to get that kind of guy who's going to be quality enough to come in and be willing to take that kind of opportunity here.
I just the thread in the needle to find the exact guy that you need that's willing to come in and be a backup and just basically go to school for free, grad school or whatever the case may be. I just think threading that needle is going to be tough. These kids all in the portal, they're all competitive. I was going to say competitive competitors. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But they all want to play. And I don't know that anybody is going to be willing to come in and be a backup.
So real quick, a couple of different comments. One, Swandong asks, why would Hebert not be ready? And then numbers and letters in the chat says Hebert has the same experience as backup Pine had in 21. Yeah. True, but think about it this way. If you're Notre Dame in 2026, now Hebert is a better quarterback than Drew Pine. We all think anyway. But he also, has the same level of experience. So if something happened in the middle of the season and you're in the midst of a national championship type run, going toward the college football playoffs, how much do you want to bank on the fact that you're going to put in a quarterback who has 0 experience in the middle of the season? Like, can you imagine the freak out factor?
Oh,
happens.
The problem is in this day and age of the portal, of the transfer portal, and everybody bailing, if they don't think that they get their shot, right? Backup quarterbacks just aren't a thing anymore. You know what I mean? Like Fernando Mendoza's backup was his brother. The second that the championship game was over, he's gone.
Right.
Because he wants to go play somewhere.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Having good backups, those days are just gone.
But this goes back to what we were talking about with the group of 5s and soon to be group of 6s, is if you're worth your salt at all. I mean, just look at Rourke last year, who went from the MAC to Indiana to be the quarterback. If you're
Sure.
worth your salt at all, you're going to move up a spot, even to a lower level Big Ten program or, Power 4 program, which a year ago Indiana was. They were lower tier. There was no guarantee that anything like what they had was going to happen. Go ahead real quick, Jess.
Yeah, I think I want to echo a little bit of what Vince is saying. A backup quarterback is just no longer a thing in today's. I think quarterback position is the hardest to have a backup. But the bigger point I wanted to make is just backups in general. I think that's why it's more important that and more impressive what Notre Dame does recruiting wise in terms of building their roster, because when those guys are younger, you can still build depth with younger guys that are really talented, instead of guys that have to build, or schools that have to build their programs off the transfer portal, because guys are only transferring in to be the starters. Guys aren't transferring in to be backups and provide depth along the way. And so if you're Notre Dame and you have a lot of talent through recruiting, that's good because you could still have the depth. And then once the season ends, then you can move on. But at least you have talented depth for that season, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're going to take our one and only timeout of this hour. Then we're going to come back with more We In, We Out Notre Dame football related. Coming up next, Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat with IrishBreakdown.com. We continue Budweiser's weekday sports beat with IrishBreakdown.com. It is we in, we out day. We're answering a lot of Notre Dame football-related questions in we in or we out fashion with Vince D'Addario and a blank screen on the YouTube. Oh, there he is. Jesse Stiers. I'm Sean Stiers.
So secretive.
I know. Who knows what happens behind the screen during
You all wish you knew.
I do.
Okay, from Rocket as Heisman again. Keon Keeley, top 6 sacks as part of second team rotation. Does not include college football playoff games, and Boubacar Traore is at a minimum second team All-American. I'll go in on Traore. It's like 6 has been kind of the max for anybody on this
That's
team
a lot.
for years. Yeah.
I'm in on both. Quit beating around the bush.
Wow. Well, I'm out on the 6 and I'm in on the second team. So,
Yeah, I think I'm out on the 6 as well.
I just think they're going to be really deep on the defensive line, and I don't know that anybody's going to get the snaps that they need to get.
You guys really think that Keeley's going to be definitely second team, second rotation? Like
I don't
Bryce
think he's going
Young
to be first.
and Traore are definitely going to be over him.
I do.
I'm not completely sold on that.
Okay.
The guy played at Alabama and produced.
He was in the rotation at Alabama and produced a little bit.
He's going to be part of a rotation here as well. So, and that's a good thing. That's good for everyone. And whether he starts or not, there's still going to be a rotation there. You're going to see guys going in and out. And, so it's like he gives them.
They're better as a unit. I don't think we need to be focused on the individual, but the unit, I guess. But the question is individual. I think all those guys are going to be close to 6 sacks.
That's a lot.
Traore's got a lot of love. Stayed healthy all of last year and very, very highly regarded. So I think it's going to be, look, again, there's a lot of talent there, and that's all that matters. They're all going to play. So I just think, again, because of the fact that there's a rotation, 6 is just, you're sitting right on the limit right there. And if you had 4 guys who all had 6, I think you'd be pretty happy.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that there's a potential that they could all be in that, 4 to 6 range. I think it's going to be hard to top that, though. In or out, Javion Osborne is RB3 by a third of the season, and Notre Dame has another freshman All-American.
I'm out. He's not going to get enough carries to be a freshman All-American. He may be third string, and that's fine. But I don't think there's going to be a freshman All-American getting third string carries at Notre Dame.
I agree with that. I've got to be out on that. Like the RB3, he could be, but there's you got to find out. I'm drawing a blank. Big running back.
Kedron Young.
Kedron Young. Thank you.
Kedron.
He was out all of last year. I was like, there was like a K in my head, and it wasn't.
Oh, I've been there. I get it.
Yeah.
But right now, okay, so we've seen 1 year of the running backs coach at Notre Dame, and he was obviously at Penn State the year before. Never really went past RB2, right? Never went past RB2 at Notre Dame. Never really went past RB2 at Penn State. I don't know what he's going to do because now this is a completely fresh running back room. What is it going to look like? I don't have enough evidence to tell me that whoever the third running back
he's going to get the opportunities.
Is going to get enough carries, Yeah.
So. Most likely it's going to be 1 and 2, and whoever is 3 and 4 aren't going to get anything until mop-up time.
Yeah, that's what
you have to imagine, too.
You don't even want those guys getting mop-up time now after last year. So, what, Jess?
So I think you just have to imagine too, like Aeneas's game is, I'm not calling him a not physical runner, but he's just not a very big guy. And I think you got to have kind of like that 1-2 punch. Because Aeneas is very good at, lining up, catching the ball out of the backfield, that sort of stuff. We've seen that in big moments. And I just think that their second running back option is going to be someone more imposing like Kedron. And then, like Vince said, we just don't know what that looks like because the guy the running back coach has only primarily used 2 running backs.
Don't you see a little Zach Charbonnet in Aeneas Williams, though?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I can see it. Yeah.
All right, another one from Rocket is Heisman. In or out, Jalen Snead finally finds his full potential. Joey O'Brien, and he's like doubling these up on all of them.
No, it's really hard.
Jalen Snead finally finds his full potential. In or out?
He's already found it. Like they know what Jalen Snead can do, and he is pretty much a starter.
Yeah.
But he's not an every down linebacker. He's just not. And when he's rushing the passer off the edge, and when he's doing those kinds of things, he's really, 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 really good. And that's his full potential. Like, that's who he is. And once you embrace that, once you understand that, he can be really, really effective in this defense. It's okay.
Yeah, I think that I agree with that. And I think that this is the year where it's just like, this is what it is. Like this, we need to get the best full version of Jalen Snead.
In or out, Joey O'Brien is a top 4 safety rotation. I like, people fall too in love with these freshmen.
They really do.
With star ratings. Let's see what they look like in the spring and just how it all becomes. Like, look at how well Tay Johnson played last year. And I realized, like, there were some other issues, like injury and stuff like that his freshman year. But it's like, it's a lot to ask to just jump in. Look at what happened with Jadon Blair this year. A lot of people thought that he was going to be part of the mix right away, and it obviously didn't happen, and now he's gone. So I've got to be out on that for right now. I'd at least like to see him play in the spring before we make any kind of judgments on that.
Yeah, I mean, they were 4 deep last year, but really 3, and all 3 of those guys are back. So it's going to be a tough nut to crack.
Chris says, in or out for the frozen north, Boston clam chowder, hot cocoa.
Knew you were going to do that.
Bailey's and coffee. I am totally in on clam chowder. I love clam chowder. It's like one of my absolute favorites, especially this time of year, especially like if you get it fresh in Boston. So I'm totally in on that.
Are you as far in on the choffee? Because you're a choffee man.
I'm a choffee man, and I'm not a big hot cocoa by itself, but I do like the half and half coffee and hot chocolate, as Vince. It's well documented with him. So I would be out just on solo hot coffee. I do like my cocoa with some coffee. Bailey's and coffee. I don't really like mixing alcohol with coffee, but I don't think I've ever tried Bailey's and coffee. Used to drink White Russians back in the day, but that's a completely different story.
For me, I love a good clam chowder, so I'm all in on a clam chowder. Especially fresh from the East Coast, like, sign me up. I also love a good cup of hot cocoa. I hate coffee, so that would be anything mixed with coffee. I'm out.
I had a lot of good seafood chowder over in Ireland, I will say. Very tasty. Nice. That was one of the highlights of the trip. So I'm definitely in on that, in on the hot chocolate. And Bailey's and coffee, I'm just not really a fan of, so I'm out on that.
There you go.
Fat fish. We in or we out? Micah Shrewsbury inherited a much worse situation than fans recognize. He has the tools to be successful. The Irish are headed in the right way talent-wise, and he should be given the benefit of the doubt.
It's a big question.
Go ahead, Jess.
Jump at once.
I don't know if I want to touch this one. There
are parts of this that I agree with.
I know.
The very first part I agree with.
The first sentence is absolutely true. He inherited a horrible situation. Oh, yeah. There was virtually nothing left on the roster.
In a one-man recruiting class because everybody bailed except for Marcus.
Right. And everyone criticizes him for bringing, Braden, his son, onto the team. And, it's like, well,
he's one of the better players.
Yeah, he's been one of the better players, plus the fact that you had to have a roster, and he was, like he was rated. It's not like he was a one-star guy and should have been in some school that you've never heard of someplace. Like he was a rated guy, and he deserved to be here, and he's played pretty well. Now, I realize people, some people think that he plays too much, but again, look at what they've got right now. I just, from a talent standpoint, yeah, it's there, but Vince and I talked about this the other day. You got to start winning games, and it's year 3 at this point. You've got to start winning games. You've got to be closer to 500 in
Yeah.
the ACC than 5 games below 500 in the ACC at this point.
Yeah, that's my biggest issue. And I realize your best players hurt. And in basketball, when that happens, that's a tough hill to climb. I get that. And the talent that you were bringing in is all very, very young. And I get that too. The problem is they're just not competitive. And in this day and age, you should be able to bring in freshman talent, and that freshman talent should be competitive. I mean, it's a what have you done for me lately kind of a situation with NIL and the transfer portal and all of that. And so you bring in this great recruiting class, they got to produce. I'm not saying they got to go win a national championship, but just as a small sample size, watching the North Carolina game the other night, we're not even competitive in that game. They just weren't. And I realized it was on the road and all of those different things, but I don't think North Carolina's winning the national title either.
No,
so
they're
it's
not.
like, they're just not even competitive. And as much as I harped on Mike Bray, towards the end of his tenure and all of those different things, the good Mike Bray teams, man, they were at least scrappy on defense. And the burn offense was really boring to watch, but they played good defense. And, that kind of I'm not even getting that. I'm not even getting good defense from this team. So
what's their identity right now?
That's 100% correct. And they're right on the cliff for me as to whether the benefit of the doubt thing is over for me. I got to start seeing something. And if I don't see anything for the rest of this year, I'm just not going to be on the Shrewsbury bandwagon.
I mean, I gave him the benefit of the doubt for 2 years.
Right.
And again, like Vince said, you don't expect these freshmen to come in, especially when your best player, Burton, is out with an injury. You don't expect him to come in and win a national championship or even win the ACC. But you to what Vince said, you expect to see, and Jesse as well, you expect to see more of an identity.
Yeah.
And especially, you have to see more of an identity, and you have to be closer to 500 in the conference. That's really not that much of an ask to be at least close to 500 instead of where they are right now. And what is it now? A 5-game losing streak?
Yeah,
it's tough.
Did
that start with the Cal game? Is that when it all started?
Yep. That's where the unraveling.
Well, we didn't even talk about that. You know what I mean? That. Yeah.
Chi-Town says the men's and women's basketball teams both go dancing in March Madness. In or out? Easy out for me. The men are not making it.
No chance. The women are going to make it. They'll be in. The men, not so much.
I was teetering on the women for a while last night. I was like, whoa, what is going on here? But I managed to figure it out.
So I'm going to get a heart there in the fourth quarter.
I'm just glad you said it, Sean, not us.
I'm just being real.
Hey, but you know what? You got to give credit for the comeback and everything they were able to do to win that game on their own floor. They got another game at home, and then they do the West Coast swing. And so, they've got an opportunity to put some wins.
Hannah was the best player on the floor. There was no doubt.
She finally closed it out. She won that game, and that's what she needed to do.
That's right. And that's why, when you look at some of these other teams, I think I talked about this at the start of the season. She's going to be the best player on the floor on most nights against most of these ACC teams.
Yes.
And, in those situations, she's just got to will them. She's got to pull them to the win if that's what she has to do, because she is should be, more prominent National Player of the Year candidate. She definitely has that talent, not being talked about as much of that. She'll be the ACC Player of the Year, but she's got to will them when she has to. And that's what she did last night. So
you think the men will even make the NIT?
No.
Nah, not the way they're going right now, unfortunately.
No. I don't know that I'd want to watch that. They'd get beat by some group of 5 type team and on the group of 5's home floor. It's just not what I need to see.
Let's go relatively rapid fire
with
these last few, because we have a full rapid fire segment coming up in hour number 2. From Team OD, in or out, the O-line play or injuries can stop this team from being an absolute juggernaut. Only the O-line play or injuries, rather, can stop this team.
Not only. There's plenty of things that can go wrong. If CJ Carr twists an ankle, you're in trouble. Right. So I will say I'm out.
Well, he said or injuries. So
Oh, I thought he just meant injuries to the O-line. Okay, so I read that wrong. So I
So
apologize.
offensive line play
Okay.
or injuries are the two things that could keep them from being a juggernaut.
That's college football, so I guess I'm in.
Yeah.
If your O-line doesn't play well and you have injuries, you're in trouble. So, yeah, I guess I'll be in.
I'd go in on that as well.
Sorry, I read it wrong.
JG Y-Town, in or out, Notre Dame will have at least 4 teams that are ranked on the 2026 schedule.
Are we talking at the end of the year? I don't care about the start of the year. At end of the year, I think there's a good chance. I think BYU, Miami, SMU. I guess that's a good number. I'm going to go under, though. I don't think it's going to happen.
Navy could be. I mean, that's
Navy's
a
the wild
possibility.
card.
Navy's the one that you would need to make it 4.
Correct.
So I agree. So that's why this number is set in a good spot. I'm going to say under, though. I don't think that's going to be the case.
I'm going under as well, but a lot of people were telling us the other day, don't sleep on Wisconsin. So we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
In or out, the defense will score 5 touchdowns in 2026. I am in on that. I think the over-under is probably 6.5.
I'm in.
I'm
in. Yeah.
There's a lot of talent, a lot of strip sacks, a lot of interceptions.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of touchdowns scored because of the fact that the teams aren't going to be super great that they're going to play against.
In or out, Leonard Moore will shadow every team's best wide receiver. I'll be out on that. I think that if they view a wide receiver to be in Leonard Moore's talent range, like he is that good, like he is clearly the best guy, in terms of the wide receiver group, I think that in that case, Leonard Moore would shadow him. But I would be out otherwise. I don't think that he has to shadow the other team's best receiver.
No, I'm out. That's not what Notre Dame generally does.
Jesse? Yeah, I don't that's not part of their philosophy defensive wise. They never really travel a corner. And to me, what that says is you have a lack of confidence elsewhere. And I think they have a ton of depth, and they added a lot of quality depth in the portal as well.
From Domer Grizz, in or out, winter weather is tolerable from Thanksgiving through the end of January, but after that, it's time to warm up. I mean, definitely in on that. I will say, I like, I would rather have snow on the ground in January and February than not have snow. I just don't need 0-degree weather and snow all the time like we've had this year.
Yeah, and we started getting snow early. Like in, November, we were having snow days. Like there's been a lot this year. I'll just say that.
I'll tell you what does it for me in the wintertime. The wind. Wind just whipping at your face or blowing snow around. Like,
yeah,
I'm okay with the cold and the snow, but when that wind starts piercing at your ears and your face, that's when I start to I want to fight the air, basically.
We've just had consistent wind blowing all the time this last week. And I was out with the snowblower the other day, and it's like, I've got to point the thing.
You got to work with the wind
direction because of where the street is.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to blow it onto the street because then people get mad at you. But then when I, point it away from the street, it's just blowing right back in my face,
Oh, so yeah. Awesome too. With the snowblower, man, you got to work with the wind. That just is what it is, man.
I know. Chris says this one is for Vince. In or out, Limp Bizkit is more of Vince's style as opposed to Disturbed.
That was Greek. I don't even know what you just said. So. I'm gonna hold.
You're not in it for the Nookie call, Vince?
Like, I couldn't tell you a single song that Limp Bizkit.
You didn't do it all for the Nookie call?
Okay, well, I've heard
Nookie
that before.
What? The Nookie what? And you could take that Nookie and stick it up your what?
Whoa.
All right.
Whoa.
See, now we've gone too far, I guess. Let's take a timeout. Rapid fire is coming up as we round things out tonight. Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat with IrishBreakdown.com. All right. Well, we're back. A little bit of a cold open. My board in the studio, everything just froze up. The computer froze up here. So,
Oh no.
yes,
Well, everything's frozen today, so that makes
I
sense.
guess so. Yeah, like nothing. The commercial break just stopped. I tried to do a little manual overdrive and nothing wanted to play.
Oh, geez.
So, yeah. So there's supposed to be Notre Dame hockey coming up in a little bit, but I couldn't tell you exactly what's going to happen there either. So in the meantime, guys, Vince, Jesse, Sean, are you ready for rapid fire? Oh,
Pew, pew, pew. Oh, are we just playing commercials now?
well, this is fun. Everything started playing all at once. So literally, after nothing would play, 3 things started playing all at the same time.
Nice.
So we'll see how the rest of this night goes.
Yeah.
Some ghosts in the machinery, I think. I don't know. One of you guys was starting to say something when a commercial in a show opened, started playing in my ear. So
I think we were just getting ready for rapid fire. I was about ready to do the Jesse pew, pew, pew. Yeah.
oh yeah.
Dueling pistols.
Okay, so we talked a little in the first hour about Notre Dame's schedule, the full schedule for the 2026 football season released today. Notre Dame great Brady Quinn was on this show recently. Had a chance to talk to him about a lot of different things. And one of the things that I asked him, there's no USC on the schedule anymore. So who would Brady Quinn want to see added to the schedule in the future? And here is what he had to say.
It's Michigan. I mean, that's a game, that's a rivalry that, it never should have went away. Those are two of the top, winningest or all-time winning programs. They recruit against each other, two high academic institutions, close in proximity. It just makes way too much sense. And I think that's the game that every single year they should play. And by the way, unlike SC, I don't think Michigan's scared. I think they're the type of university that would sign up for that sort of deal. I know they already have again in the future to bring that back, but I think it's like 2033, 2034. So it's a ways off.
Yeah.
That would be the first one that I'd go after that I think needs to be brought back.
Okay, so Brady Quinn wants Michigan, and I like how he tried a little psychology there. He's like, Michigan's not scared. USC's scared, but Michigan's not scared. So I know what Vince's traditional stance has been on this. So Jesse, I will start with you, and then we'll hear what D'Addario has to say.
I think if you're removing a traditional rivalry, then you have to reintroduce a traditional rival. Maybe there's a new age rival. Maybe Michigan's too far in the past for some people, but in terms of tradition, proximity, pure hatred, like Vince hates Michigan fans. Isn't that the definition of a rivalry? And so I would be all for it. Again, I enjoy everything about it. Two teams that have been very successful, close proximity, a rich history, a rich tradition. I'm all for it. Why not? When you talk about blue bloods of football, I think Michigan is nearing that conversation as well, or maybe a part of that conversation already.
So I hate a lot of people, so I don't think you can say everybody I hate is a rival.
No, not you.
Yeah, so I just
Not
want to get that
you.
out there.
You hate a lot of people. Come on,
That's
Vince.
not the definition of a rivalry for me.
Nobody believes that. You're such a good-natured guy.
Glad you think so. That's why we've been friends this long.
You're like that guy on TV, those commercials. Is it progressive? Like don't become like your parents or whatever. It's like everything that Vince said is like old man dad stuff.
I love those commercials, by the way.
But to continue. Yes.
Those are fantastic.
I knew you would.
Don't become your parents. So I feel, and this is probably going to give respect to the rivalry that is unintended, but kind of intended. You can't replace the USC rivalry, in my opinion. You cannot replace it. And
I agree.
So what I would do is I would just have random good teams on the schedule. Do those home and aways with the Alabamas, the Texases, the Georgias, the whatever. That's how I would replace USC on the schedule. It would not be just one set rival.
You're replacing the rival in the aggregate with other.
Yes, because eventually USC is going to come back because they're going to fire Lincoln Riley. And then eventually they're going to be like, we should probably have this Notre Dame game back. And so it's going to come back. And they're going to have another athletic director because they go through those like underwear.
Have to fire the athletic director.
Well, they go through those pretty quickly too. So I would replace it with the aggregate, like you said, and then just wait for them to come back.
Lynn Swan wouldn't have backed out of this. Pat Hayden wouldn't have backed out of this.
That's all I'm saying.
I need to hit my dinger bell because I'd like to amend my answer.
Okay.
Yeah, I would actually like Ohio State.
The Buckeyes. You're desperate for that win against the old Buckeyes, aren't you?
Yeah, I think that they've played a lot of meaningful games. I think Notre Dame has obviously come up short in a lot of them. Most of them.
Unfortunately, all of them.
But if you're talking about a guaranteed good, and maybe Ohio State doesn't view it as a rivalry, and they got their own rivals with Michigan and Penn State or whoever else. But if we're talking about good on good, rich tradition, blue bloods football teams, same proximity, nearby, I would be all for Michigan or Ohio State.
So you're going either. You don't mind. I think you've got to have look at this schedule. It's just like the 26 schedule. It's just a schedule. Like, do you want your schedules to look like that? And there's a comment in here from Andre that we'll get to in a minute. I think you need a real rival on the schedule. And Michigan obviously fits that bill. For whatever reason, Vince is like anti-Michigan. I agree with what Brady Quinn is saying. And this is coming from a guy who played at the heat of when Notre Dame and Michigan were playing about as regularly as they had ever played in history. When Brady Quinn was there in the early 2000s and into the mid 2000s, they were still playing very regularly. I like the fact that it is nearby and you do have, the heated, spirited nature of the rivalry. I would love to see Notre Dame and Michigan, but that was like late 80s, early 90s. And, again, into the 2000s as well, when Notre Dame and Michigan were playing at the start of just about every season. That was college football to me. And I would love to see Michigan back on again, but Vince has so much hate for Michigan.
I think that one's cool because whether you live in Indiana or Michigan, there's fans in each, and you probably got a next door neighbor who's a fan of either.
Yeah, exactly. Chi-Town says bring back Army.
No.
I mean, that's not going to move the needle for anyone. You've already got Navy on there every year, and plenty of people want to get rid of that. And Army's just not good enough. Do you want just a walkover opponent, or do you want something with some teeth? Because people are just going to criticize you for having Army and Navy on your schedule every year. And then Chi-Town says Purdue and Michigan State yearly as well. And again, I just never cared that much for either one of them. And when Purdue was decent and Notre Dame was playing them every year, that was, both of these two, these are two of the more bitter rivals that Notre Dame had is Purdue and Michigan State. When you talk about pure hatred from the other fan base, that's what those equated to me. Justin says IU.
They're just not going to be good in 10 years.
Yeah,
whenever Cignetti leaves, that's over.
I agree.
They need to enjoy this while they can.
I've been commenting on all of the IU people's posts. Glad to see you were an IU fan 3 years ago.
When
They
you
were
even-
just a
did
round
you-
ball.
Yeah, exactly. Andre says, do you even really care that USC is not on the schedule this coming year? He said he got Brian and Trevor's take on it. Now it is our turn.
I absolutely care because we had a previous question about 4 teams being ranked on Notre Dame's schedule. If you took one of the teams off of Notre Dame's schedule and replaced them with USC, I would have said yes, because I think USC is going to be ranked.
But you can say the same about Michigan, like if you replaced them with Michigan. So, yeah, I mean, I do agree with that. Like, USC
I don't know.
should be our opponent.
I feel very good about USC being ranked in 2026. I don't know that I feel very good about Michigan being ranked in 2026. Brand new head
they've got
coach,
turnover, obviously.
people decommitting, scandal every other day, it seems like.
But again, you're talking about a 1 year. You're talking about a 1 year. Like at the core, what is your biggest? I don't want Michigan. Like, what's your biggest reason for not wanting Michigan, Vince?
Well, there's so many reasons. No, I don't like their fan base at all. That's a big part of it. I don't like how they operate their football program at all. There's a lot of things about Michigan that I just don't like, but now I have a son that goes to school in Michigan, so I probably have to put those in the rear view a little bit. But everything about Michigan just bothers me. It just does. You know, and when you've got
say the same about USC, but the biggest difference.
No, I respect USC.
Miles away.
No, the difference is I respect USC 100%.
That much more than Michigan.
Yes, 100%. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I will say their fans are much better. I remember.
Yeah.
At their, growing up, there was.
Are they like? Have you been on Twitter at all in the past 2 months?
Well, I've been to a USC pep rally in Chicago wearing Notre Dame gear and got nothing but respect from people.
That's more where it's at.
Do that in Michigan, that will never happen. Like
but again, I equate that more with Michigan State fans than Michigan fans, honestly.
Oof.
Like that kind of reaction.
Michigan State fans are brutal.
Yeah.
To answer the original question, I absolutely am going to miss USC, and I think that game needs to be on the schedule every year, no matter what. And I hope that they get that figured out.
Yeah, me too. I hope they do. Like, when you look at the schedule and there's no USC, there's a gaping hole.
It's just a problem. Yeah, that's just a big problem.
And especially when you don't have, a Michigan or an Ohio State, who they played a couple of years ago. BYU is the most marquee opponent they're going to face this year, but that's not really that marquee. They were just a good team in the Big 12 last year.
Well, I think Miami probably takes that.
Oh,
game.
yeah, I forgot about Miami. I'm sorry. And there's definitely, there's
bad blood there too.
Right.
But that bad blood was before my time, so that doesn't, you know what I mean? Like,
and there's also a question of, is Miami going to play to that standard again this year? Just how good will Miami
absolutely. Because
So-
they are they are attempting to be a portal team, you know what I mean? And so does that work year in and year out?
Correct. But speaking of schedules and BYU, the Big 12 released its schedule this week. So here's what BYU and Texas Tech's schedules look like in 2026. I'll rip through these real quick. Here's BYU. They host Utah Tech to open the season. Didn't even know there was a Utah Tech.
Now you do.
Yes. They host Arizona. They go to Colorado State. They go to TCU. They host Iowa State. They, of course, host Notre Dame. They go to Central Florida. They host Arizona State. They go to Utah. They host Baylor. They go to Kansas. They host Cincinnati. Texas Tech. They open with Abilene Christian. They go to Oregon State. They host Sam Houston. Boy, those are 3 really challenging games off the bat. Then 4 home games in a row, actually. Baylor, Cincinnati, Colorado, Oklahoma State. They host Arizona and Arizona State, then TCU, then Houston, then West Virginia. So when you hear those schedules, and again, those are BYU and Texas Tech, 2 best teams in the Big 12 this year. What do those schedules say to you guys?
They reek of the easiest Power 4 conference in college football. I mean, they're overall easy schedules. They might, like, if you're looking at BYU's gonna lose to Notre Dame, might stumble to another Big 12 opponent. But I look at Texas Tech's. I look at Texas Tech's schedule the same way I look at Notre Dame's schedule. they should handle their business and probably be undefeated.
I mean, you're never going to not hear that Notre Dame has a weak schedule because that's the easy punchline, right?
Notre Dame has more meat than both of those, though.
Well, because Notre Dame plays 10 Power 4 teams on their schedule as well that really nobody else can claim throughout the country because they're not playing the Trailblazers of Utah Tech and the Wildcats of Abilene Christian. But that's the easiest path to get into the college football championship.
Ding,
right?
ding, ding. Yes.
Make your schedule as easy as possible. Play a bunch of cupcakes. Play in an easy conference, and you're in.
Those schedules tell me the Big 12 is trying to set it up so that BYU and Texas Tech play in the conference championship game again. And best case scenario, they both get into the college football playoff. The Big 12 is trying to set it up so their two best teams from this season are both in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Year. That's what they're doing. That's why they have those. And, obviously the Big 12 doesn't control their non-conference, but, the schools do. Like, at least BYU is playing Notre Dame.
That. You know how ticked off the Big 12 is that BYU is playing Notre Dame? Probably pretty ticked off.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Whoa. We just gave you the greatest schedule ever. What are you doing?
That's their whole agenda. What are you doing here?
Well, also, I think it's going to be really funny because Notre Dame's going to be able to put the foot in the mouth of the Big 12 commissioner that decided he wanted to run rampant at the end of last season and talk like the Big 12 is mighty and better and all these teams are just better than Notre Dame. Okay, we'll see. And we'll watch Notre Dame kick the crap out of BYU.
And we'll go to Provo. Like, hey, let's go. We'll go to your place. We'll play in the mountains and let's go do this.
For the next 10 months, all we're going to hear is how soft Notre Dame's schedules are. Kind of like Vince was saying, and now Notre Dame needs to join a conference. But look at Texas Tech and BYU.
Correct.
They're in a conference, the same conference. And besides BYU playing Notre Dame, there is not one playoff contender of the whole bunch on either one of their schedules between the two, because they're obviously not playing each other this year like they did last year. But again, the Big 12 made sure to avoid that happening so that they don't have to hand one or the other a loss. But nobody's going to complain about their schedules or anyone else's in the Big 12 because they're in a conference. You're going to have to hear from Joey McGuire talking about how Notre Dame should have to be in a conference. But at the end of the day, I guarantee you this, no matter what, Notre Dame's strength of schedule at the end of the season is going to be better than either of these schedules that, the supposed two best teams in the Big 12 conference right now. Notre Dame's going to have a better strength of schedule than either one of them, even though everyone's going to be ripping their schedule left and right all season long.
And what is one of those teams going to get into the playoff? An automatic bid.
Right.
One of those two teams is going to get an automatic bid into the playoff.
Right. And again, no one's going to complain about that because they're going to say, well, they played in a conference. They won a conference. They deserve to be. And everyone's going to complain about Notre Dame and the memorandum of understanding that Notre Dame, if they're in the top 12, is going to get an automatic spot. So,
because nobody reads their mail from 2 years ago. That's the problem.
I mean, we can write the whole storyline right now. I mean, save the
seriously.
time, skip to the end. So, fill in the blank. It's blank that the Pittsburgh Steelers are reportedly interested in Miami Hurricanes head coach Mario Cristobal.
To me, it's shocking. I mean, shocking. Like, who is Mario? Like, no, seriously. We're talking about a franchise that doesn't hire many head coaches, right? Like, this is going to be head coach, number 4 all time, whoever they decide to hire. And you're telling me they're interested in Mario Cristobal, who overall as a head coach has a 97-79 record. I think he won the Pac-12 in 19 and 20 with Oregon, but of course 20 was the COVID season. I'd say he's underperformed so far at Miami, except this season. Obviously, you make it to a national championship, but you didn't even win the ACC. And you lucked into making the playoff and eventually making it to the national championship. And to me, being in the national championship, it's okay. You're the first loser. Like, you either win or you don't. And so I don't really see the why there would be intrigue outside of maybe he's got some of those old school kind of tendencies that would fit into the Steeler way. But if I'm the Steelers, an organization that has so much history and so much, respect for their head coaches, I just don't think Mario Cristobal has the track record to say, yes, that's the guy that we want to precede Mike Tomlin, who never had a losing season and had so many playoff appearances.
He also doesn't fit the mold of what the Steelers usually go after when they're hiring a head coach. They want young and energetic and guys that are going to be there. He's 55 years old. I'm not saying 55 is old. I'm not going there. But what I am saying is you're not at the early stages of your head coaching career either.
Right.
Okay. So it just doesn't fit the mold from what the Steelers usually go after. So I just don't see it as a fit. Hey man, what coaches have been in the newspaper today? We'll just put that out there in the press. Like, that's what it feels like.
It's funny you said that, Vince, because conspiracy theory Vince, I literally included this because of people like Vince who just want to sit back and say, oh, why is Marcus Freeman the only one who's being mentioned for all these NFL jobs? No other college coaches are being mentioned for these NFL jobs. But then in the last couple of weeks, we've had both Kurt Cignetti and now Mario Cristobal as well, So like there are other people. It's not just for clicks. There are other college guys who are being mentioned for these. And, like you said, like the mold of what the Steelers have done for the last 60 years, Cristobal obviously falls outside of that because he's not in his 30s. And, he is a little bit more around the block. But the other side of it is, like tough, hard-nosed, physical, in the trenches football. Cristobal is there. And he did take a Miami program that hadn't been anything for 20 plus years, before he got there, and did get him to a national championship game, whether he won or lost it. But, I don't know. Like there's still plenty of people, like Cowherd and Cam Newton who hate Notre Dame, but there is other interest for successful coaches outside. Will Compton, by the way, remains the hero that Notre Dame fans didn't know that they needed. Like his tweet earlier this week, I didn't even get a chance to mention this. He's like, let's be real. Notre Dame would have beaten both of these teams in the national championship game. Will Compton keeps beating that Notre Dame drum out there for you. So
it'll be, I don't know how many, because you guys are more NFL guys than I am. How many successful NFL head coaches have come straight from the college ranks and have never, ever, ever coached in the NFL, not even as an assistant or anything else? Like, how many are there? It's got to be a small
I can't
number.
tell you, because obviously Pete Carroll came from college, but he had Patriots
right
prior to that. Jimmy Johnson would be probably the most prominent one, going from Miami to Dallas. And there have been, I'm trying to think, like Coughlin,
Bill Walsh.
Yeah, that's been a long time. Tom Coughlin, though, I don't know if he was an NFL assistant before he became a head coach at Boston College and then ultimately made the move to the NFL.
This is going to make people mad.
We do know this. The track record is very, very short in terms of guys who have gone from college to the NFL who have had a lot of success. That we do know.
Right. And that's really my point. It just, I feel like it's a bit of a stretch to bank your franchise on when you generally hire a coach for 2 decades.
Not only a franchise like the Steelers.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's not like this is the Raiders or the Cleveland Browns or this is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Hey, for all those Cleveland Browns fans out there, I saw a picture of good old BK in Browns gear online the other day.
Man, by the way, Jesse, how are your Browns fans feeling right now? The fact that it's basically going to be them and the Raiders are going to be the last ones standing.
You have no idea because
nobody wants them. They thought they had a chance at Harbaugh. Nobody wants the Cleveland Browns.
Harbaugh went to New York.
Mike McDaniel could have been the Cleveland Browns.
Said, "See ya.
Like, I'm good. I'm going to LA. I'm going to be Jim Harbaugh's offensive coordinator."
You have no idea. It's taking a lot of restraint from me. Because when this first happened, they said, "Oh, Harbaugh's our guy. Harbaugh's the guy. We got to he's from Cleveland. He's gonna want to be here." Ain't nobody want to coach Cleveland. Nobody wants to coach Cleveland.
It's bad.
Oh man!
Did you see the report today that it's all like analytical driven and they're making people fill out questionnaires and do essays and do follow-up stuff. It's like, you're the Cleveland Browns. You should be grateful for anyone that walks in that door and does an interview.
Literally. Like, you don't even have a quarterback. Look at what you've done.
You don't have an offensive line. You don't have any wide receivers. You got nothing on the offensive side of the ball.
Yep.
Yet you got 20 quarterbacks in the last 10 years.
They got plenty of quarterbacks. Just none of them are going to start.
Just
It's hilarious.
Bad for the Browns. I would feel bad for the Browns if they weren't such a poorly run organization.
Yeah.
Like, no one to blame but themselves.
I mean, literally, they should just call up Kevin Costner and see if he can just take over as the GM.
I know.
He probably would do a better.
Bucks.
He would do a better job.
You would. Denver, New England, Seattle, and the Rams are the 4 teams playing in the conference championship games this weekend. Here's my question to you. Who of those 4 teams has the most underrated quarterback? And we're not including Stidham for the Broncos. Include Bo Nix in this conversation because he's the one that got him there. I'm not talking about the 4 guys playing this weekend. Just like, of their quarterbacks, who's the most underrated of the 4?
Well, I'll start because I watch the least amount of NFL of everybody, but I'm a huge Bo Nix fan. I liked him when he was at Auburn. I liked him when he was at Oregon, and I think it was a great fit with him. In Denver. I don't think anybody's talking about him. Obviously, it's a big deal now that he's out with his ankle and all that kind of stuff. And I get that, but I don't think anybody talks about Bo Nix, and he won a lot of games for Denver this year, and I think he's going to win a lot more moving forward. So I think he's the most underrated of the 4.
Again, John, I know Bo Nix is injured. We're including Bo Nix because Bo Nix got them there. I'm not saying the 4 guys playing this weekend. Bo Nix will be the starter again next year.
Yes,
all 4 of these guys will be the starter for their teams next year. And that's basically what I'm asking. Of the 4
primary quarterbacks, yes.
Right, the primary quarterback. Right. Jesse, go ahead.
The clear and obvious answer is Sam Darnold. He was drafted to one of the worst organizations in the last decade in the New York Jets. He went to the failed Matt Rule experience in Carolina, another organization that's been bad ever since Cam Newton left. And then from there, he got a legit shot with an actual good coach and a good organization in Minnesota. They threw him out and said, you know what? We can win with anyone. We think we can win with J.J. McCarthy. How did that go for you, Minnesota? And now he's just rolling freaking coal with the Seahawks, and he's got a chance to go to the Super Bowl. So I got to go with Sam Darnold on this one.
Tell me about this little colloquialism that you just spewed on us there. He's rolling coal.
What is? I don't know. It's
Not
cold outside.
Before
he's burning coal. I don't know.
Is that like a Cleveland thing? Are you guys rolling coal around town there? What?
He's got the train going on coal engine, baby.
It's like rolling coal. You lost me after that. I was out.
I can definitely tell you that from a fantasy football aspect, Bo Nix was underrated because, like, I picked him up as a fill-in guy at the end of the season. He'd been out there all year long, and I started him for a week or 2, but put him back on the bench. And, like when the whole season shook out, he was, I think, the 2nd or 3rd highest scoring quarterback in terms of fantasy this year. But we're not talking about fantasy. We're talking about winning games. I'm surprised that Jesse went with Darnold. I thought he might go with Mr. Nix on this. I mean, there's no way that Drake May is underrated because everyone's purely on the Drake May hype train right now for the Patriots. I was not sold on Darnold, though, coming out of USC.
No.
But I think that kind of like what Jesse was talking about, what Darnold proves is the team that drafts you, that goes a long way in terms of, especially as a quarterback, that goes a long way in terms of your success or failure, ultimately. Like the Jets drafted.
I don't think it's talked about enough.
No, I know. Because like that same draft in 2018, Baker Mayfield goes number 1 to Cleveland. Darnold goes number 3 to the Jets. Josh Allen goes number 7, so he was picked ahead of Josh Allen to Buffalo. And then Lamar Jackson didn't go until number 32. But, you've got 2 pretty decent organizations at the end there. And obviously Allen was a big part of the revitalization of the Buffalo Bills. But like, think about an alternate history. Like if Darnold gets drafted by the Bills instead, what does that look like? Are they anywhere close to what they've been? Like, might they actually be in the Super Bowl? But when you play for the Jets and Panthers to start off your career, like that is not a very good start to your career. And look what's happened when he's actually been on two good teams in Minnesota and Seattle the last 2 years. He's 28-6 after winning in the last 2 years, after winning 21 total games in his first 5 seasons. And he's got 60 touchdown passes and 26 interceptions the last couple of years. So to me, it's Darnold by a long, not by a long shot, but I vote for Sam Darnold as well. I think that he's really underrated, and it's predominantly because of 2 things. Again, who he started his career for, and the whole "I'm seeing ghosts" thing.
That was not a good thing to say.
Yeah,
I will say this. Because, again, I don't watch as much NFL as you guys do, and we don't get a lot of West Coast games, just on the air around here. I turned on the Seattle game. I was like, Darnold plays for the Seahawks? I was like, who's 14? Right. I didn't even realize after he had left the Vikings that's where he ended up. I had no idea. None.
And they were 14-3 with Minnesota, 14-3 with Seattle in his only year so far with both teams. Like, no other quarterback has ever done that before. What, Jess?
It's just so funny. Minnesota was like, yeah, Kevin O'Connell is great. We could just roll anyone out at quarterback. And then look where that got him this season.
Well, they watched a lot of Michigan film, and they saw J.J. McCarthy was an obvious stud behind center.
Yeah.
It's the yoga that he does before games.
It's the meditation.
Yes.
Fill in the blank. It's blank that either New England or Denver, who, by the way, does not have Bo Nix this weekend, will represent the AFC in the Super Bowl.
It's disgusting. But I will say the Patriots with Vrabel and Drake May, much more tolerable. I like Drake May. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback. I liked him at North Carolina. I liked when Notre Dame played him. I thought those were good games. The Patriots are much more tolerable. I think Mike Vrabel is a good coach, pretty funny. And there's a clip going around. I don't know if you guys saw. He's on Bussin' with the Boys. If he wins that Super Bowl, he's going to have to cut off some parts.
Whoa, what?
Some parts? What?
I'll send you guys the clip after this.
You will, but it's a little disturbing.
It doesn't sound family friendly to me. Saying.
Should say he wouldn't have kids anymore.
Oh,
man.
That could be a good thing.
They'd be rolling coal. Before Bo Nix got hurt, I was rooting for Denver. I thought it was going to be fun to have some new blood in. I know you don't like Denver, but I was looking forward to having some new blood in the Super Bowl. I was looking forward to it, but they're probably not going to win now, so it's probably going to be the Patriots. And I obviously got Patriots fatigue a little bit still, and I'm sure the country does as well. But it's not the Tom Brady Patriots. They're completely different. But it's still the freaking team that's won 8 million Super Bowls in the last 20 years. And it's like, oh, we thought we had a reprieve, and there is no more Belichick, and maybe the evil empire will be, no more Tom Brady, obviously.
I'll still be rooting for Denver. I will be.
I will not. I will. This is like I will have to pull for the Patriots because I cannot stand them. And honestly, I dislike Sean Payton a little bit more every day. I think the guy is totally full of himself, and
I think he's really smug for no reason.
Yeah, I think so.
There's a guy lives in Bloomington. I feel like it's the same.
I mean, give it to him. He won 1 Super Bowl, but if you had Drew Brees, who is a Hall of Fame quarterback, shouldn't you have won more than 1 Super Bowl in New Orleans?
One could argue.
He's actually got 2 of the biggest, flops in playoff history with the Minnesota Miracle and, the controversial call against the Rams a few years back that, wanted everyone to change.
I think that my biggest issue with him is he feels like he was given trash and super elevated and super exceeded everything. Yeah. But really he was given a pretty fair hand. And yes, he elevated, but it's like, you weren't given nothing, dude. Like you got some pieces there, and
he had a pretty good roster. Yeah,
and that defense was really good for a while.
What he didn't have was a quarterback when he took over, and there was a pretty good amount of talent there because they were so bad year after year. So they had a pretty good amount of talent on that roster. So yeah, it's not like he took over a trash heap and turned him into a the Jewel Prince. So I'm like, it sucks for Bo Nix that he's going to be out this weekend, but
it does.
There's no world. The only world that I have ever pulled for the Broncos was Peyton Manning. Toward the end, Manning was there. That's literally the only time. So fill in the blank. It's blank that Notre Dame women's basketball will wear the Bend uniforms against Clemson Sunday.
Come on, Vince, kick us off.
This is an audio show, and that is how I feel about it. Is Clemson any good for the women, Sean?
Decent.
Okay. I don't
Vince,
know.
are you going to be in attendance?
I will not. I don't even know what day that is, but I will not. I will not be there.
You don't want to go with your family?
What's that?
You don't want to go with your family?
I do not.
Okay.
Well, if it's a weekday, I'll be doing the show, so I won't be able to.
It is Sunday, as it says in the question. Sunday.
Well,
I thought your father-in-law goes to a lot of games. You don't want to go with him?
He has not gone to many recently because it's just not good basketball. But he has tickets to both, yes. One single ticket to both teams.
I have never been more looking forward to seeing the Bend uniforms than I am this week. I can't wait. I want to see them. They're going to look spectacular.
Is this the first time that the women have worn them?
It's the second time. They haven't worn them since November. I think it might have been Chicago State or somebody like that. It was, one of the non-conference games.
Gotcha.
I'm looking forward to it. And the more I look at them, the more I like them.
The more you become a Penn fan.
Oh, they're just Penn uniforms.
The more you become a Penn fan.
Black and gold, but they're actually a little bit higher quality stock of uniforms.
Do you just like them more and more because Vince dislikes them? Is that where we're at?
I mean, the Penn uniforms are Nike. Notre Dame's are Under Armour. I think there's a discussion to be had here. Just saying.
In what world? Because the photos that you sent me, the uniforms, like, again, they were both black and gold, but the levels of what they look like were a lot different than black and gold. So,
I like them a lot.
I was a little bit, to answer your question, Jesse, I was a little bit more not on the fence, but just kind of in the middle. But since Vince is dug in on this, I hate him so much. I love him now. I wish I had my own Ben shirt that I could wear. Sunday.
Did they give you any gear? Because they should. They should
did not give me any Ben gear.
Even more of a reason.
Other gear, so I'm not going to complain about what they did. Or the other ones, so.
Say even more of a reason to not like them. I want you to wear a Ben shirt on the show one day. And I'll wear one that says Notre Dame where they actually play.
Because the Bend is what really encapsulates Notre Dame for me. And so that's going to be on display for everyone to see.
All right, we've got to wrap it up. Notre Dame hockey is coming up next. Great end to the week. We'll have that basketball coming up Sunday. For Jesse and Vince, good times. As always, good questions from the chat. Appreciate you being here. Hope you have a great weekend. Stay warm. Stay thirsty, and we will talk to you on Monday. Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat with IrishBreakdown.com.